Hey guys, it's Dan with Really One Group. We're here today with Ryan from the Dirty Buffalo. We're going to talk about kind of origin story here in alignment with all the comic, superhero movies that are coming out, and then where's kind of the vision, identity. We were just talking about kind of entrepreneurship and how that's kind of defined by like the tradesman, the manager, and the entrepreneur. So there's kind of three roles that you guys have to fulfill here. Right. And then also we're going to do a pretty badass giveaway at the end. So stay tuned. All right, hey man, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
So I guess I'm going to kind of let the floor be yours. Tell me the Dirty Buffalo story, maybe the origins. Where did you guys come from?
Oh yeah, of course. So, if you want to take it back, Russell Gilbert is the owner of the restaurant.
Okay.
Him and I grew up together in Western New York, right outside of Rochester. Literally, we went to preschool together.
Oh yeah.
Through high school.
Very cool.
Fast forward a couple years, we graduate high school. I joined the military, stationed here for a couple years.
Okay.
He stayed in New York, but then eventually moved down here, I want to say 2007.
Okay.
When his wife, also co-owner, Stephanie Gilbert,
Sure.
She went to law school, they even married. Russ noticed something when they moved to Norfolk that I noticed here when I was stationed here.
Okay.
And it was...
What years were you here?
I was here 2000, 2001.
Okay.
And there was nowhere for somebody to get what we would consider a real, authentic buffalo wing.
Yeah.
And
not to leave certain big box names unnamed.
Yeah, that's fine. We're fine.
That's our we'll mock them in silence.
And that's fine. But as I know for myself, as an 18, 19-year-old kid who grew up in Western New York, that was moved into a completely different region.
Sure.
Not knowing anybody, not being familiar with anything. That was something that I missed.
You grew up with it.
It was something that I grew up with that wasn't available to me.
So my first main deer was in Brussels, Belgium.
Okay.
And because I was in the Navy as well, and I just saw tons of just the basic idiocy of over drinking. So I didn't even start drinking until I got to 22, and I went on a trip. And I had my first beer was like a Trappist beer, right? And so it's like almost like I came back here and had like a Bud Light or a Budweiser. I was like, oh, what is this? This is garbage. I can imagine this is probably a similar experience. You grew up with what I would now say is like, oh man, these are really good wings.
Right.
And then you go to taste, again, a box store. And you're like, look, people call this food.
Yeah. So he recognized that as a niche that could be filled. And that's kind of how the Dirty Buffalo was born. He had his own ideas for a restaurant, I guess dating back to when him and Stephanie started dating. There's a funny story that I guess he told her on their first date that he wanted to open a restaurant. Now this was, probably 10 years before we opened the restaurant.
Okay.
And he doesn't remember that conversation apparently, but she definitely does. It's kind of something that they argue about fairly often, but it's just a funny story. And so fast forward, 2012, March of 2012, Russ opens the doors of the Dirty Buffalo at our original location, which is a block over. And
much smaller and more awkward space.
We outgrew that very quickly. It just took a while for us to leave there. But
how long were you there?
4.5 years.
Okay.
I think we outgrew it in about 2.5.
Yeah.
But it took some time to figure this aspect out.
Sure.
So, about 3 months into them being open in March, so March, April, May, June, he gives me a call. At that time, I was living in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
And he gives me a call and he says, "Hey man, it's getting really busy. I kind of want some help. I need somebody to come help me, and you're one of the only people that I can truly trust to come do this with me."
Sure.
And I was like, all right, cool. I'm kind of looking for a change. So I took a leap of faith, moved down here in September of 2012.
That's a big move.
And
for moving into 3 or 4 months of a brand new business, that's a leap of faith for sure.
But I knew Russ. I knew his wife. I knew the drive, the motivation, the type of people that they were, and that's kind of what gave me that warm and fuzzy that this is probably a good idea.
So,
made that leap of faith. We were very busy at that time, what we thought was busy. And, you know, it continued to progress. And the sales, they never dropped. It just always continued to grow.
Yeah, I imagine, I mean, you guys probably don't do a ton of advertising.
None. Up until recently, we did zero advertising aside from your social media posts.
Sean, when was your first time at Dirty Buffalo?
It was probably around that 2 or 3 years over there.
Okay.
I think it's
Did someone tell you about it, or?
Yeah, the guy that went to ODU.
I drove by and I was just like, Dirty Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then so we were with my wife and kids, and now we come literally 2 or 3 times a month. But we just decided to stop in.
Yeah.
And there are 3 places that I tell, like, if you live in Norfolk and you haven't told your friend about these restaurants, you're not really their friend.
Yeah.
And those 3 are The Grand, Dirty Buffalo, and Hanson Biscuit.
Awesome.
So you've made
pleasure to be in that,
the top 3 for our family.
It's a pleasure to be in that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it started. You know, in the 4.5 years that we were there, you know, like I said, we kind of outgrew it after about 2.5. And as luck would have it, the restaurant that was here around the time that we were trying to leave ultimately didn't make it.
Sure.
And this building became available. It took a lot of dominoes to fall for that to happen.
Sure.
But it was kind of one of those like awe moments.
Yeah.
So this opened up. We closed down for a week.
Okay.
So we bought this building. Russ and his wife bought this building. He began the renovations in March of 2016. I want to say it was August 17th.
Yeah.
Was when we opened here.
That's crazy.
He did start the renovations in March. We closed there August 7th.
Moved everything over.
Retrained everybody because that was quick service. This is full service.
Yeah.
Myself, I have 0 restaurant experience other than working in a pizza shop when I was 16.
And what did you do in the military?
I was in IT.
So nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, maybe some systems or an unchanged system.
Him, you know, he had 1 year of server experience. That's it.
Sure.
So, you know, we moved into this full service. I essentially learned as we went how to run a full service restaurant.
Sure.
You know, I had the quick service down. Now it was time to learn how to do full service. And
well, I think sorry to interrupt, but the idea of like, because you just produce good food.
Yeah.
I was telling Sean the last summer here, I was like, I've never had that meal.
That's awesome.
And one of you guys had tried out a new chicken and like I think bean soup just recently, and that was phenomenal.
I don't know.
Really good. They were trying it out. I guess. But it was delicious. It was
Awesome.
And that's what brings you back. Like, I mean, any restaurant, right? Like, I think if your food is phenomenal, even if it comes out a little bit late, you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And that's one of the things that we have preached from day one. Specifically, Russ has preached from day one is that, you know, it's 80% service and 20% food. If the food is good, I'm sorry. No.
Okay.
That's actually right.
Okay.
80% service, 20% food.
Sure.
If the food's on point and the service is on point, then people are going to come back.
Yeah.
If one or the other is off,
you
may not come back.
Yeah.
But to us, the service side of it is far more important.
Okay.
You know, if the service is bad but the food's good, you might do takeout every so often. So you're not going to come back and dine in.
Sure.
And, you know, I'm not sure if you know the ins and outs of the restaurant industry, but you make a lot of money selling alcohol. You make a lot of money selling soft drinks and stuff like that.
Sure.
So you want to drive customers back into the restaurant.
Well, and that would keeps your waitresses and waiters employed. So
exactly. So the service has to be there. The food quality, as far as we're concerned, we know is always going to be there.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest struggle, not necessarily struggle, but the thing that we always have to drive home is that service.
The challenge,
because it's not just walking up to somebody and saying, "What can I do for you today?" That it's bigger than that.
Kelsey is our favorite server.
Okay.
If she sees this, shout out to Kelsey because we use her every time. We request her every time we come in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a big part of it, and it was something that I had to learn. You know, I didn't come from the service industry, so it was, I did customer service, but I didn't really understand.
Fully get it.
It's one of those things that having learned it while I was here and experienced it, it's easier for me to translate it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And like, this is where I came from. Understand that it was difficult for me as well. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, so the next piece we're going to hit is like, I guess, vision, right? So you guys have kind of some big plans, and some of that's come to fruition here recently.
We do. So I know it sounds, I guess, grandiose, is that the word?
Sure.
To start a business with the idea of franchising, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
It has changed over the last couple of years. You know, initially Russ wanted to start it as a quick service restaurant and move it into a franchise.
Makes me think of the founder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie, by the way. But it grew, and it just became something bigger than just a quick service restaurant. And you know, now here we are with the franchising, and you know, you have to look at the things that we've accomplished over the last almost 7 years. So 7 years will be March will be our 7th year open, March 20th. And you know, going to the National Buffalo Wing Festival and coming back with 3 first place trophies. I mean, you walked into the Lions Den.
That had to be like almost surreal. Like coming in.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 100% surreal, and I'm not ashamed to admit, and I don't think Russ is either, that you know, we got the first award and it was really cool. It's like, oh man, that validates something.
Yeah.
And then we get called for the second one. We're up on stage in front of, you know, hundreds, thousands of people. Not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds.
I get it. Yeah.
And they announced the second one. And it's safe to say that both of us got emotional. Like, we teared up.
Sure.
We didn't like flat out bawl, but
you guys have been working long, hard days for a long period of time. Even though you had validation of your success, you know, moving into a new store, just growing and growing and growing. When you're recognized from your peers, especially the peers of people that you kind of are looking at, respecting, going, man, I want to be there, and they're going, hey man, you did great. Did that choke you up a bit?
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And to have, you know, that experience under our belts and the awards to go with it. The third award that we won wasn't for a sauce, but it was the Rookie of the Year award, which they give to the busiest of the new restaurants.
Okay.
There were 9 other restaurants there that were brand new, and I don't know the exact numbers, but I can tell by our line versus everybody else's line that we were significantly busier, and that was awesome. You know, that was a good feeling to have, to walk into Buffalo, like I said, and to come away with those awards.
Sure. Now, I mean, so this hits on one of the questions I wanted to ask. Like, you know, obviously that happened for a reason, right? So if you had to kind of try to put your thumb on, like, what's been some of, I hate this question, but I'm asking, like, the key to success? Like, what is it that about your food or your style, or what is it that you guys do? Because in that atmosphere, it's probably a little less based on service and more about the food, right?
Yes.
So, like, what is it that you guys, how do you keep kicking ass so much?
So I'm gonna use some verbiage from Russ,
Sure.
Which I wholeheartedly agree with. It all boils down to consistency. At the end of the day, it's all about the consistency. Are you putting out the same product consistently?
I'm literally watching the founder as he's going around checking pickles.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I mean, that really is all it is. It's, are you providing the same level of service every time? Are the drinks being poured the same way every time? You know, that is the building block for what we've been able to do over the last 7 years.
Very cool.
You know, you can throw the service aspect into it. You can throw taste, but where does the taste come from? Well, it comes from consistency. Where does the service come from?
I think there's a scene where he's talking about like the moisture content in the potatoes. It's like the margin of error is like 3% moisture content to make sure that the fries come out the exact same way. I imagine there's a certain amount of meticulousness that comes from what you guys do here.
There is.
And my belly appreciates it.
You know, I don't think I'm throwing Russ under the bus by any means with this. He's a little OCD. And that has translated into the service aspect, the quality of the food, the timing, you know, how everything is timed, how everything's cooked. All that stuff, you know, that has been a benefit to help us grow. And he has been the driving force behind that, whether it's behind me, whether it's behind his wife. I can wholeheartedly say that I've learned so much from him, and him and I have learned a lot from each other in the last 7 years.
It's a good relationship.
You know, it's been interesting. We've had our days.
Sure.
But yeah, to answer your question, consistency.
Well, and right before we got here, you were saying that you just got off the phone with a potential person that's interested in the franchise.
Correct. So having just announced franchising, which, you know, again...
When did that go, I guess, live? Or
we were officially approved for franchising November 27th.
Okay.
And the way franchising, specifically for Virginia, so there are 13 states of the 50 that the state has to approve franchising in.
Okay.
And I understand the process. It's a good process because they're looking out for the franchisees and the franchisor.
Yeah.
Some states, they don't really care.
Sure.
But Virginia is one of those 13 states. So we were approved to sell in Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, basically every surrounding state other than Virginia back in October.
Okay.
But we had to wait for approval from the state of Virginia. Once we got the approval, we announced it. So that's 2.5 weeks ago, almost 3.
Yeah.
And up to this point, we've had probably 12 to 13 people apply.
Okay. Are those all local, or are they different states so far?
We've had a couple. We've had New Orleans. We've had Ohio. But most have been local areas, which is
wild. Where did that lead even come from?
I know the Ohio one actually came from one of our servers. It's a family friend up there. And then I'm not sure where the New Orleans one came from. None of us are really sure. And I reached out to them. I haven't heard anything back. But the ones in the local area, we got some pretty promising ones. I'd say of the 12, probably about 5. 4 of which are like partnerships. So it's 2 guys,
sure,
and then just 1 guy by himself.
Okay.
So we got some pretty promising leads. I'm very excited. You know, I got another phone call as soon as you and I are done.
That's awesome.
So, you know, it's cool. This is what we set out to do, and it's actually happening. And it's super surreal, especially knowing where Wes and I came from. You know,
I was telling Sean, because we came up here to watch the Dolphins game, which I hear is a mockery to the Bills. But we almost felt like a little bit of a sense of pride that like the place that we kind of discovered in its infancy, and then get to see it. You go to the franchise, it almost feels like we had like, it sounds goofy as it sounds, we have like almost ownership. So like, yeah, man, I was there when.
So I like how you segued into this. You know, you have those people that are going to start to badmouth us because they're going to think that the quality goes down or the service goes down, and I understand that. But here's what I guess what I relate that to. Before I started doing this, I was working in the music industry. That's why I was in Brooklyn, and I relate it to the music industry because you have these small acts like that people just fall in love with. They're all about what they're doing, and they love the music that they're putting out. But then they sign a major record deal, and then they sold out, and it's going to get worse, and this, that, and the other thing. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair. I think that you should be proud of those people. That, you know, maybe they did set out to do that. Maybe they did set out to sign a major deal, you know, record label or whatever. But that's what they wanted to do. That in and of itself, you should be happy for them. And
the Last Bison is a good example. I don't know if you ever heard.
Or a local band, right?
Yeah, a local band that we saw and then signed a major record deal. They were like literally I think 3/4 of them were part of the local church, like worship band, and then everybody loved them. They played locally, and all of a sudden they got recognition and got played on the radio, and then signed a couple deals. It was just kind of fun to go. You know, I think we've seen a little bit of change of them over time, but I mean, they're still a phenomenal band.
Right.
And I don't know, again, maybe it's because of my entrepreneurial spirit too, but I just think I'm like, man, that's awesome to see someone that I really like see success. Yeah,
no, I agree. And I hope people feel the same way about us, because at the end of the day, we're still going to be the people that are driving this train.
Yeah, absolutely.
Myself, Russ, Steph, you know, eventually when we start really getting some of these franchises, our current staff members, whether they're the GMs, the kitchen managers, whatever, they're going to come on board as some of our staff members on the corporate side as well. So, it's still the same people that are running this business. It's not, we're not selling to some big giant corporation. And there's a reason why.
You are the giant corporation, in a word.
Eventually, it's weird to think about it that way, but eventually, it's going to be, or there's a reason why part of this franchising for us is that we want to do it slow. We want to do 1 to 2 this year, and the reason being in the local area, and the reason being is that we want to be hands-on with these franchisees. Cool. We want to be able to be available to them at all hours of the day, to where they can give us a call and, hey, I need this. Awesome. I'll be there first thing tomorrow, or if you need me right now, cool. But you have that reassurance that the people who have gone through probably every problem that we could have faced are there to help you.
That's sort of the franchise. You've pre-solved problems.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this into a shorter and a longer piece. But I don't want to cut you short if there's any other piece that you want to share about your story. If you are you wanting to go nationwide? Is it only going to be East Coast?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Kind of like Taste is again another one. I knew Rob when he just owned Borjo, and then when he became part of Taste, and they've expanded. Now they have their first store in Richmond.
Nice.
And it was cool to see them go from like a couple of shops to a little over a dozen locally. And they got their first shop in Richmond. They kind of want to slowly expand, and they've gone through some of those other kind of burgeoning growing pains, if you were. How do you make things consistent? Or what products? Again, back to the founder thing. It's kind of like you don't want each store doing something different, right? And one of his main, he goes to one of the stores and they're serving like chicken wings and things like that. It's funny because McDonald's doesn't really do that, but or not chicken dinners, but so you have this like you want this product and this consistent message to go out there.
So I guess to answer the future question, like I said, we want to grow locally first, start slower, and one of the things that I brought to the table was a different, not to toot my own horn, but a different perspective on things. In that, when Russ thought about franchising, it was just going to different college cities, which is a great idea, don't get me wrong.
Steak and Shake's kind of done that.
But to me, it's the military. This is the largest military-centric area in the world, and you're establishing a foothold here. Now, what happens when that sailor or Marine or airman goes to San Diego, goes to Jacksonville, goes back up to Great Lakes? I mean, I would like to have one in Great Lakes on the base, because they're coming out of boot camp, going to day school.
Get a doctor.
Exactly. That is 100% my thought process.
If this place existed when I was in the Navy here,
it's a no-brainer. It's one of those things that, brand recognition. They're coming here while they're stationed here. Now they got to go somewhere else. I can't tell you how many guests of ours that get stationed elsewhere that we either get emails from or Facebook messages or whatever, postcards. We get postcards from people. One was out of Rome, Spain. One was out of Galveston, I think. Or no, they're in Las Vegas now. People send us postcards telling us how much they miss their wings, our wings, and how much they wish that we were there. And that's just a great feeling to have.
No, absolutely, man. That's amazing. And now, you guys have the restaurant here. I don't think everybody knows that you guys have takeout, which I've done several times.
Yes.
Do you guys cater at all?
We do. Okay. We have a catering menu that somebody can shoot us an email. Hey, I'm looking to cater. Okay. We're going to ask a bunch of follow-up questions, how many people, all that fun stuff.
And you provide the staff
and then
for that
we
catering
would provide
as well?
the catering menu. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
We've never done an off-site catering event. We typically do them in-house, or I've delivered the food before, but I mean, our food doesn't necessarily need somebody to serve it to you. You take a wing here and there and take some French fries. So it's usually just a drop off, but we can offer that service if need be.
Another admission of maybe fanboying. Your fries are so good. Like
just the fries by themselves.
I literally said this the other day. obviously my belly is indicative of this. I have stopped through the McDonald's line just to get a Diet Coke and fries because they're so phenomenal.
Okay.
And the first time I had fries here, I was like, holy crap, these fries are amazing.
Okay.
And I've been tempted driving by to go,
just get a side fries.
Just get a little side fries. So tasty. And then you also make them where is it dirty fries where you put the seasoning and the sauces on them?
The dirty fries has the beanless chili on it. The poor man's wings, you can get the sauce or the rub on it.
Yeah.
We do have online and mobile ordering. It's a minimum of $25, but maybe I'll make a special exception for you. Just order a side fries and you just walk in and pick it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything else coming up down the pipeline that flavors or anything else coming up that's are you not allowed to divulge?
I would if I could. We actually typically think of the flavor of the week the day of.
Okay.
Which I'm trying to reel us in so that we can do like a whole year's worth.
Yep.
So that we know ahead of time what we're going to do.
One of my new favorites is the lime jalapeno.
Okay.
The habanero. Lime habanero.
Yes.
One of those two.
Jalapeno lime.
Oh, so good. Yeah, it's fantastic.
That was a very good one.
Cool.
We do have a franchise launch party coming up, which is the day before the not the day before the Super Bowl, the week before the Super Bowl.
Okay.
It's going to be a Sunday, January 27th. Obviously, Super Bowl's coming up, which we always do.
Yeah, so get your orders in early.
We do pre-orders for Super Bowl. We cut off the phones at a certain point during that day.
Yeah, I think I missed the cutoff last year. I was a little upset.
It's our busiest day of the year by far.
Sure.
And at a certain point, you kind of have to just, here we go.
Yeah, cool.
We're going to be doing Dirty Buff Fest again this year. I don't know if you were aware of that.
What is Dirty Buff Fest?
We did a wing fest. Well, it's a festival that we put on over at the Little Creek location. We bring back some of our events. So the last three years, we have done a wing eating competition.
Okay.
It's not a quantity challenge. It's a heat challenge.
Yeah,
and that's fine. We also bring back what's called our Dirty Challenge. Maybe you saw it a couple weeks ago. It was on WTKR, Channel 3. They came in and they had one of their employees do it and one of our guests do it. It's a 5-pound plate of food. You have to finish it in 45 minutes. So we did that. That's also one of the events. Did a live band, a bunch of games for the kids.
Sure. My kids love the arcades in the back. That's
nice.
We have to bring an extra $5 in the quarters every time we come.
Yeah. So we're looking to bump it up this year. I personally would like to bring in a name band this year. We had a cover band, which was fine.
I highly recommend BJ Griffin. He did our client party recently, and he was phenomenal. But hey, I want to make sure we hit right here at the end. We're going to do a big giveaway.
Yes.
Right. So, what are the people fighting over?
$100 gift card.
$100 gift. $100 worth of wings.
Yeah. Which can be used. Maybe don't put this in there. Supposedly, our gift cards. So for the last 2 years, each gift card has been location specific. Okay. Supposedly, our POS company has figured out how to make them work.
That doesn't stand for what you think it means. It's point of sale.
Yes, point of sale. Yeah. I believe it's in effect now. Okay. But hopefully,
we'll make it work. If you're wanting to go down to Little Creek, we'll make it work. But $100 gift card. So make sure you comment what your favorite flavor of either dry or sauce, and then just share. We want to get these guys as much exposure as possible. They freaking rock. Like I said, I come here easily 2-3 times a month. Anything else you want to share with the people? How do they get a hold of you? What's the number here?
I mean, those of you that have supported us, or maybe you haven't supported us, thank you. Those that haven't yet, we're taking on all new customers, new guests. Phone number here at this location is 757-226-7851. And if you do happen to call the other one, 757-321-7242.
Very cool. Hey, this is again Dan Inman with Really One Momentum Real Estate, if that's not clear enough. And again, we're right here with Ryan going over Dirty Buffalo Wings. Thanks for coming in.